The first thing I did after being reborn was to skip class like crazy and work out, even when facing a warning from my teacher about failing. And breaking up with my girlfriend, Liu Ryan, I was completely unmoved, because I knew from living a second life that in just 1 month, all kinds of devil fruits would start growing around the world. And at that time, whoever got a devil fruit would gain superhuman power. In my past life, even though I got superhuman abilities, I still died miserably in a zombie nest, because my fruit ability was weak and my body was too frail. I died a miserable death in a zombie nest. Now that I'm reborn, of course I have to use my foreknowledge and seize every advantage I can. From what I know, in my past life there was a devil fruit that appeared in a fruit shop near the school, called Your to Beautiful. But I didn't know the exact event when that devil fruit would show up. So after being reborn, I come to this fruit shop every day to buy some fruit and also check if that devil fruit has appeared yet. Walking into the shop, I take my usual lap around, not missing a single piece of fruit. When I get to the peach section, suddenly, two short purple stems catch my attention. The flowers bloom on top of a big pile of peaches. The body of those short purple stems is clearly exposed right in front of me. That's right, it looks exactly like a fruit from my memory. This is the devil fruit of Kaido, one of the 4 emperors from the One Piece world. It was reported on in the later days of my past life, and it's the strongest fruit with a known location. Great, I'm overjoyed inside. I pay and walk out of the store with a bag of fruit. Right in front of me, Komi's, a fairly burly middle-aged man. Soon, a face from my past life memories merges with the man in front of me. It's none other than the user of the Azure Dragon fruit from my past life. I silently thank my luck. If I had been 1 step later, the Azure Dragon fruit would have been bought by this man. Back at the dorm, I don't hesitate anymore. I pick up the fruit and take a big bite. It tastes like a dry bucket mixed with a septic tank. After dipping a moldy rag in it and wringing it out a few times, then shoving it into your mouth, it's so disgusting I almost throw up. But I force myself to swallow the pulp despite the nausea. Then, with a burst of determination, I just go ahead and swallow the remaining peel, the core and leaves, and the short purple stems all down. After a long while, I take a deep breath. The seed of a miracle has been planted. Now I wait for the miracle to happen. Then I take out my phone and start browsing short videos and forums. I look around on various short video platforms and forums for a while and type an ID into the search bar. I click on the first video. Brothers, see this rumble fruit? I'm auctioning it in the comments. Highest bidder gets it. My heart races when I see this, even though I've already eaten the Azure Dragon fruit and can't eat a second one. When the apocalypse comes, everyone will know the value of devil fruits. A single fruit will be worth a fortune. This is the most important resource for trading. Even if I don't trade it, I can give it to my parents or my sister to eat. Or maybe it's not completely impossible to eat a second devil fruit, but that would require strength, luck, and opportunity. I don't leave a comment in the comments section. I directly send a private message to this guy named Noble. Chief Mao, the blonde punk. Bro, this fruit is well made. It looks just like the real thing. Don't sell it. You probably know. Those people in the comments are just messing around. Just name your price. If it's reasonable, I'll buy it right away. Bro, this is a real devil fruit. Asking for $1 million isn't too much, right? If it's real, why don't you eat it yourself? If you're serious about selling, give me a fair price. Otherwise, I'll block you. Then, 100,000. Final offer, 1,000. For a figure in this condition. This price is already the max. I thought I could squeeze more money out of him. But 1,000 is still okay. Enough to live it up for a while. Fine. You pay, I ship it. You're not a dealer. What if I pay and you don't deliver? Give me an address. I'll come to you for an in-person deal. Blondie didn't care. In person, fine. What's he gonna do? Rob me? After I got the address, I sped off. 2.5 hours later, I arrived at the county bus station Blondie mentioned. Are you the one buying the devil fruit? Give me a payment code. I'll check the fruit's authenticity, then scan and pay. Pay first, then deliver. What? Afraid I'll stiff you? This is your turf. Blondie thought. That's true. He had a bit of a name for himself in the local gang scene. If this guy dared not pay, he could make one call and bring a bunch of buddies. I took the bag from his hand, pulled out the fruit inside, and my heartbeat sped up without me realizing it. This was definitely a real devil fruit. I immediately scanned and paid 1,000 to Blondie, took the fruit, and headed back to my school. If the small county had a train station, I'd have just boarded and gone home. On the way back, I opened my phone to scroll through short videos. Suddenly, a video caught my attention. Lately, many patients have suddenly fallen into comas, and quite a few people have developed strange spots on their bodies. Experts say it's likely a new type of flu, urging everyone to wear masks and take protective measures. Seeing this news, my heart skipped a beat. Comas. Multiple people with spots on their bodies. These are all signs of an impending apocalypse. Back at the dorm, I grabbed my pre-packed luggage and headed for the door. Just then, a scream suddenly came from behind me. Several people had collapsed on the floor, and their bodies were starting to develop spots. At the same time, an inexplicable, terrifying pressure descended. Everyone felt a chill in their hearts. Then, all these unconscious people underwent a shocking transformation. Their eyes bulged out. Their nails grew sharp and long, like a beast's. Like zombies, they rushed out from every corner. Countless students ran out, crying and screaming for their parents. And at that moment, I felt a power from deep within my bloodline. Awakening. That power was violent and strong. It was the power of the devil fruit I had eaten earlier. The Azure Dragon's power emerged within my body. A loud, clear dragon roar escaped my throat. Green dragon scales appeared on my skin. Dragon horns sprouted from my head, and my hands and feet turned into dragon claws. I began to transform completely. This scene immediately startled the classmates in the hallway. They thought I had become a monster like those zombies. After transforming into my human dragon form, my physique greatly increased. Strength, defense, speed, and recovery ability all saw huge improvements. Just then, two zombies behind me roared and lunged to bite me. I extended my dragon claws and easily sent them flying. Another zombie charged out of a different dorm room. I opened my mouth and spat out a stream of fire. The scorching flames instantly engulfed the zombie in front of me. But after that blast of fire, I felt my stamina drop significantly. The devil fruit's power relies on stamina. Even later, when I have Haki, it still drains stamina. The first awakening phase is just a stage of tempering. I'm not a noble like Kaido, nor do I have Kaido's monstrous physique. So even with the Azure Dragon fruit, the power I can unleash is far from Kaido's. I pulled a baseball bat out of my backpack. This baseball bat, it's a custom reinforced and weighted version, perfect for bashing zombie heads. I swung the baseball bat, with strands of electricity crackling around it. The Azure Dragon fruit allows control over wind, fire, and lightning, three natural elements. Though not as powerful as a Logia type, it's still enough to boost attack power. I cut a bloody swath through the hallway, quickly catching the attention of other students. And because I kept killing the zombies, it gave those students a chance to catch their breath. My baseball bat, wrapped in electricity, was truly like a thunderous Bagua strike. Zombies in front of me were basically one-hit kills with the bat, but he didn't get lost in the thrill of slaughter. Instead, while fighting, he quickly charged downstairs. Right now, there were two urgent tasks. One was to find a way home, and not let his parents and little sister get bullied anymore. The other task was to kill 100 zombies as fast as possible, because if a single person kills 100 zombies, the Divine Thorn space will open. At that time, I can exchange for 3 sessions of Haki's cultivation method to speed up my own power growth. The Azure Dragon can fly, but with my current stamina, I definitely couldn't make it all the way home flying. Along the way, with a flaming wheel and iron staff, I was like an Azure Dragon war god, unstoppable. A large group of students gathered behind me, wanting to follow me out of the hallway. But what they didn't know was that in the apocalypse, there was no safe place. Hiding in the dorm with the door closed would actually let them live a little longer. After bursting out of the hallway, I narrowed my eyes. The situation downstairs was absolutely hair-raising. This school was once built on a mass grave. Rumor had it that the yin energy here was thick. Residential buildings built here made many people sick. Later, a feng shui master suggested building a school to use the strong, vibrant energy of young people to wear down the yin energy of this place. Now, those bodies that had turned to bones, infected by the zombie virus, all crawled out from underground, attacking every living person they saw. Someone save me, the campus is in chaos. Everyone was running for their lives like crazy. They crashed into each other, panicking. But I ignored them, locked onto the school gate, and charged forward with big strides. Whether it was zombies along the way, or skeletons, they all got blown apart by one swing of my bat. Finally, just as I reached the school gate, my body suddenly froze in place. Not just me. Everyone, including the zombies, stopped in their tracks, as if the whole world had hit a pause button. First divine word. Devil fruit descends. Divine gift space opens. Then, I felt my vision go black. When I woke up, I was in a strange space. There was no space here. No time. Only 2 screens, one big and one small. The big screen had the words Divine Gift Shop. The small screen had the words Personal Panel. I was already familiar with these things from my past life. They were opportunities left by an unknown existence. You could exchange points for corresponding items. There were techniques and battle records, equipment, potions, and so on. Because you are the first to hunt zombies and reach 100 points, you will receive a divine gift reward. And because you reached 100 points within 10 minutes of the apocalypse starting, the divine gift reward rating is upgraded. You may choose one of the following 3 rewards. I, the villain. This was content I had never experienced in my past life. Reward 1, perfect fruit. Brings your current Azure Dragon fruit to a perfect state. Completely removes the Azure Dragon fruit side effects. After the side effects are removed, not only can you ignore the weakness to sea stone and seawater, you can also eat another devil fruit without your body exploding. Zhonglia, the domineering Haki prodigy. No points needed to redeem. No training required. Awaken all 3 types of Haki instantly, even if you don't actively train. The 3 Haki will slowly grow on their own. If you do train actively, then your 3 Haki will grow twice as fast. Reward, 3 display divine weapons. You can obtain a custom type weapon. This weapon is at the supreme grade blade level, and it deals double damage to zombies. Fruit, Haki, weapon. Choose one of 3. 1 and 3 boost combat power instantly. 2 boosts combat power slowly, but has a higher ceiling. Based on my experience from my past life, getting the second divine trial, at least by then, Haki won't be obsolete yet. Just as I was hesitating, I suddenly recalled teacher KAIDO'S golden advice. Haki is the foundation. Roger, Shanks, and Garp don't have devil fruit powers, yet they still became the world's strongest warriors. Even teacher Kaido, to pursue Haki improvement, barely developed his fruit at all. When he fought Luffy, he didn't even awaken it. One choose option 2, the Haki prodigy, without hesitation. Quality over quantity. How strong the Azure Dragon fruit is depends on how strong your body is. Pushing one fruit to its limit is already no easy feat. The next moment, it came to me. I directly awakened all 3 Haki. A thin, black layer of Haki covered my fist. This is armament Haki. Then, I used over 10 points to redeem 5 pieces of Sea King meat. This is food that quickly restores stamina. It lets me last longer in battle. And the personal interface doesn't just show stats. It's also a communication tool. When human civilization's infrastructure is destroyed in the apocalypse, everyone relies on the personal interface's communication function to stay in touch. And it's very user-friendly, divided into many channels. Right now, many people have already started chatting with each other. The space freeze is about to end. From now on, you can enter the divine temple space at will. I just felt my vision go dark, and when I woke up again, my consciousness was back in my body, surrounded by endless zombies and panicked, clueless classmates and teachers. I stuffed a piece of Sea King meat into my mouth, wolfing it down, while charging out of the school gate. Suddenly, I sensed something. I immediately shifted my position. Right where I had just been standing, a skeletal arm reached out. It was observation Haki, a baseball bat crackling with electricity. In no time, I took down several charging zombies. Then I shifted back to human form and jumped straight into the car, flooring it toward the city outskirts. The road was packed with fleeing cars. They thought the zombie outbreak was just in the city, so they tried to escape to remote areas to survive. But there's no safe place left in this world. The radio was still playing in the car. The government urgently announced for everyone not to panic. Stay home, lock your doors and windows. Our troops have been deployed. Our biological labs are also developing an antidote. Please maintain order and don't cause chaos. The first wave of the zombie virus spread through the air. Those with weak constitutions got infected, so hospitals and nursing homes were the hardest hit areas. When the apocalypse arrived, the main way the zombie virus spread was through biting and blood transmission. Under these circumstances, soldiers with the best physiques had an extremely low chance of infection. So when the apocalypse came, the military could still function somewhat. But I knew this wouldn't last. If the military wanted to quickly clear the zombies, they'd have to use firearms and other hot weapons. But then they wouldn't earn any points. No points means no way to get stronger, as zombies keep getting stronger and eventually become immune to conventional firearms. The military will only push harder, the faster society collapses. So the only hope now is total mobilization to fight the zombies. This is survival of the fittest. A race for survival. The car sped forward. Even if zombies block the road ahead, I choose to just ram right through them. Suddenly, my phone rang. As soon as I answered, my sister's panicked voice came through. Brother, where are you? There are zombies everywhere outside. It's so scary. I'm okay. How are you? Are mom and dad okay? Mom took your advice and asked for leave early, and she picked me up. Dad is still at the hospital. He said he locked his office, so he's fine for now. Brother, you're amazing. If you hadn't told Mom to take leave, we might already be dead out there. For a month, Ellie had been confused. Brother, he kept buying huge amounts of supplies and sending them home. When asked, he wouldn't say a word. They had no idea where he got all that money. I didn't have any money myself, of course. A month wasn't enough time to earn it. But since the apocalypse was coming, what was there to be afraid of? I borrowed from every platform there was. If I could explain it to my parents, I'd probably have mortgaged the house too. But with the divine space I had, there was no real need to stockpile too much. This was just for emergencies. As we were talking, a luxury car ahead swerved to avoid a zombie that lunged out and flipped over, triggering a massive pileup. Many cars crashed into each other, wrecked. I had already foreseen this. There was no time to stop now. I grabbed my backpack and baseball bat and transformed into the Azure Dragon form, smashing through the roof and flying into the sky. The clouds lifted my body. The Azure Dragon soared upward. The incredible sight stunned everyone on the road, making the already chaotic crash even worse. No time to care about the mess below. I dove into the clouds, flying straight toward my destination, occasionally pulling a piece of water meat from my backpack to replenish my strength. I couldn't fly for too long yet. Finally, when all the water meat was gone, I landed from the sky and reverted to human form. I glanced around, didn't see any zombies. I quickly entered the divine space and exchanged for 5 more pieces of water meat, stuffing them all into my backpack. Now my backpack only had those 5 pieces of water meat and 1 rumble fruit. I ate 1 piece of water meat, but I didn't take off again. Water meat could restore stamina, but if I kept relying on it, my stamina would drain faster, and mental fatigue couldn't be replenished. I opened the map and checked. I needed to find a highway and a car. After getting my bearings, I transformed into the Azure Dragon again. This time, I only flew for 10 minutes before I spotted a highway below, with countless cars speeding along it. I needed to find a sturdy off-road vehicle. In the traffic below, many people saw the Azure Dragon flying in the sky. Immediately, someone filmed it with their phone and uploaded it to the communication channel in the divine space. Guys, I saw a dragon. A huge Azure Dragon. It must be nearly 100 meters long. The Azure Dragon must be Kaido's Azure Dragon fruit. I wonder who got so lucky to obtain such a powerful mythical Zoan. I once got a rumble fruit, but I thought it was fake. So I sold it, a real devil fruit, and a rare Logia type rumble fruit at that. And he only sold it for 1,000. The little blonde punk now wanted to kick himself. Above the highway from Jijo to Yujo, transformed into the Azure Dragon, I finally spotted a vehicle that looked extremely. Its sturdy off-road vehicle. Just as I was about to land and hitch a ride, suddenly, the corner of my eye caught a glimpse of a large tree by the roadside. A faint glimmer of light was flashing. A slight stir in my heart. I descended toward that large tree. As I drew near, a pair of dragon eyes suddenly widened, catching my gaze. I saw that at the top of the fruitless poplar tree, amidst the dense leaves, a fruit was actually hanging. This fruit was shaped like a corn cob, entirely golden yellow, and adorned with white curling patterns. It was a fruit I had never seen before. But that's normal. In the apocalypse, there are far more devil fruits than in the manga. The manga only has a few dozen. But according to my subconscious tally of fruits, there are tens of thousands. Of course, most of them are Zoan-type mythical Zoans. It's not that few. After all, the myths of every ethnic group around the world are countless. Every mythical beast among them and magical creature will become a new mythical Zoan. But even if mythical Zoans are a dime a dozen, they still live up to the title of the strongest. I reached out my dragon claw and plucked this fruit, put it into the big backpack behind me. Once my points reach 1,000, I can open a new privilege in the God-given space. Devil fruit appraisal. That way I can avoid eating fruits that don't suit my taste. Of course, the appraisal fee is very expensive. Each appraisal costs a full 1,000 points. Just as I was about to catch up to that off-road vehicle again, a large truck ahead suddenly overturned. 3 zombies crawled out of the truck and started blocking and attacking the surrounding vehicles. But at a time like this, which car would dare to stop? They all stepped on the gas and drove right over the zombies, swerving left and right, trying to shake the zombies off. This behavior directly triggered a chain reaction car crash. I glanced over there and ignored it. Instead, I landed beside the overturned truck, transformed into human form, and held onto its overturned side, forcing it back upright. The strength provided by the Azure Dragon fruit is terrifying. Then I climbed into the truck and drove straight ahead. When I reached the scene of the chain reaction crash, I transformed into a divine dragon again. and moved the car wreckage blocking my path out of the way completely. The vehicles behind me passed through the road I had cleared and unconsciously followed close behind me. I saw this in the rearview mirror, but it doesn't matter. These people can follow if they want, as long as they don't interfere with my actions. Car accidents kept happening frequently. I also got out from time to time to deal with zombies and clear the road. If you're willing to protect me, I can give you endless money. A portly figure, a wealthy, flamboyant, middle-aged, greasy man, showed me a fawning smile, taking another step forward. The middle-aged man was so terrified he involuntarily fell to his knees, as if the young man in the form of a dragon was the supreme ruler of heaven and earth. A faint conqueror's Haki left a group of people who were about to approach, frozen stiff in place from fear, but under the threat of life and death. Some still wanted to gamble for their own survival. A beautiful woman with a mature, elegant look bravely stepped forward. Even in the apocalypse, she still dressed so glamorously. "Hey, can you take me with you? You can do anything to me." But what I gave her was still a cold, hard rejection. Just as I was about to cancel my ability and get in the truck, a burly man walked up from behind. "Sir, I am willing to serve you with all my loyalty." I had no intention of stopping. He quickly tried to sell himself. "Sir, I've also read a lot of apocalypse novels. You may be powerful, but don't you need people to build a base? I, Menkui, have no other skills. I do have some sharp tools. I'm a boxing coach. I can definitely help you out." I stopped in my tracks, turned back and glanced at him, stroked my chin, and thought for a moment. This guy had a point. Civilization and order are about to collapse completely. To survive in the apocalypse, I need to build my own safe base to fight against the zombies. These zombies evolve really fast. On my own, it's hard to protect my family all the time. Get in. Seeing I agreed, Menkui was overjoyed. His bags, luggage, car he abandoned and all of it. Afraid I'd leave him behind if he was even a second late. He didn't dare sit in the passenger seat either. Instead, using his physical fitness, he climbed into the back cargo area. Menkui's success gave others hope. Maybe this big shot wasn't completely heartless. However, the middle-aged man barely started before I cut him off. Even if I'm recruiting, I can't just take in too many people right here. Having one Menkui is enough. Besides, this guy's loyalty is still in question. It needs to be tested over time. Please give me a chance. My abilities and my life will all be used to achieve your goals. This woman looked like a tough one. Maybe she could accomplish something big. I gave her a deep look. Get in. The woman was thrilled. Without my permission, she didn't dare enter the passenger seat either. Instead, she climbed into the back cargo area, not caring about her image. I watched this scene, nodding to myself. This woman might not just be a pretty face. The others behind wanted to follow their example, but I unleashed my conqueror's Haki again. Everyone was stunned and fell to the ground. Some hardcore One Piece fans recognized this kingly aura. Oh my god, the big shot has awakened it. Conqueror's Haki back in check. I returned to the truck. I started the engine and kept driving. After a full 2.5 hours, I finally found a roadside service area, but it was already overrun by zombies. Passers-by had wanted to come in for fuel and food, but seeing the large horde of zombies gathered here, they had to give up that idea. But I didn't have that concern. The moment the big truck stopped, a group of zombies swarmed around it. They couldn't get into the cab, so they tried climbing onto the cargo area to attack Menkui and the beauty. The two cowered in the cargo area, afraid to show their faces. I got out and immediately entered my beastman form. With the baseball bat in my hand, I casually smashed the zombies climbing onto the truck. Meanwhile, the convoy that had been following me also arrived at this service area. They had planned to wait for me to clear the zombies and then grab some supplies. But their arrival instantly attracted a large horde of zombies, which charged straight at them. With no choice, the convoy had to leave. I, on the other hand, killed every zombie with one swing each. I kept only one zombie from Menkui to practice on. Menkui, true to being a boxing coach, had good strength, speed, and combat instincts. By the time I finished refueling, he had successfully killed that zombie too. After restocking supplies, I finally asked the Cheongsam beauty her name. Even though this woman looked frail, seemingly useless, ever since she got on my truck, she had been behaving well. She didn't scream when zombies climbed the truck. That raised her score in my book a bit. My name is Liu Xiao. Seeing me finally ask for her name, she quickly answered, "Sit in the passenger seat. No need to be afraid anymore." My words delighted Liu Xiao. It meant this young man had acknowledged her. Master. Her address surprised me again. She didn't even ask my name, but directly called me master, letting go of all pride and pretense. People like that are the ones who can survive better in the apocalypse. Soon we set off. On the way, I got another call from my sister. Ally, brother, where are you? Dad is trapped in the hospital office. I heard the hospital has the most zombies. Dad has no food or water either. I'm so scared something will happen to him. Ally's voice was choked with tears. Beside her, I could hear Mom's voice. Be careful. How is your school? Protect yourself. Mom and Dad will find a way to save you. Mom, don't worry. I got Teacher Kai's Azure Dragon fruit. After eating it, I'm even stronger than a Logia type. Is that Azure Dragon in Big Brother's video you? So cool. When it came to devil fruits, I immediately stopped being afraid. The two of us, brother and sister, talked on the phone for a full hour. After hanging up, I called my father. I told him I was now ability user and would be back to save him soon. I told him to stay put, not to risk rushing out. At that moment, sitting in his office, anxious and helpless, Kong finally calmed down. After telling me to be careful, he quietly waited for his son's rescue. When I drove the big truck into Bian City, it was already late at night. On the streets at that time, there were aimlessly wandering zombies everywhere. In the silent night, the rumbling of the big truck was so piercing. People still unable to sleep from fear opened their windows one after another to check outside. I didn't go home. Instead, I headed straight for the central hospital. Hundreds of zombies were gathered there. After getting out of the car, I immediately entered my beastman form. Electricity coiled around the baseball bat. I slaughtered my way through the zombie horde and walked into the hospital. There wasn't a single living person in sight. You two wait here for me. I'll get my dad out, and then we'll go. After I left, Menkui and the other guy immediately hid in a nearby room and blocked the door with a bunch of desks and chairs, waiting for my return. As I killed zombies, I picked up my phone and called my father. Dad, I'm already at your hospital. Which office are you in, on the other end? Kong was hungry and thirsty, and tormented by zombies constantly banging on the door outside. Mentally exhausted, now late at night, he was drifting in and out of sleep, when he was suddenly jolted awake by his phone. Seeing it was his son's call, he perked up immediately. Be careful, there are a lot of zombies in the hospital. He didn't say where he was. Instead, he told me to stay safe first. It wasn't until I video called him, and he saw my Dragon Man form, slaughtering everything in sight, that Kong finally relaxed and gave me directions. I soon arrived at the door of an office in the corner. 12 zombies were gathered there, constantly ramming the door. The door had several holes in it. If Kong hadn't blocked it with a bunch of desks and chairs, the zombies would have already burst in and torn him apart. I swung my iron bat and blew all those zombies' heads off. Then I violently kicked the door open. My father inside, though in rough shape, was physically unharmed. That was the best news. Kong ate the food and drank the water I gave him, while sizing up the majestic Dragon Man in front of him. Is this what you and Xiao Yu were talking about? The devil fruit ability. Trapped in the office, Kong had also seen a lot of this event. The communications in the subspace, channels, videos, and comments. He roughly knew some things about One Piece. I grinned sheepishly, casually swung my bat, and killed another zombie that came in. So, is your son cool, you little brat? You're awesome. In the short time since the outbreak, Kong had witnessed countless people killed by zombies. Now that his own family was safe, that was the best news in the apocalypse. As I led my father out of the hospital, I could still see people peeking out from the broken doorways of some houses. When Kong saw Kong following a Dragon Man away, and that Dragon Man was incredibly fierce, someone immediately cried out, "Old man, save me!" Kong saw his colleague calling for help. A look of reluctance and pity appeared on his face. Save them too. They're all colleagues. They're pitiful. What's the point of saving them? Do I have to take each one home? Even if they get home, can they survive? Ignoring the crowd's cries, I pulled my father and quickly left. When passing by Menkui and Liu Xiao's room, after I cleared out the zombies banging on the door, I smashed the door open with one blow and brought the two out. When they saw me return, the two immediately greeted me respectfully. But Kong was shocked. He stared at me in disbelief. A muscular man and a stunningly beautiful woman. Why would people like this respect his son so much? And he heard it clearly. That beautiful woman called his son master. Oh my god, what has my son been up to behind my back? Even with my thick skin from 2 lifetimes, I felt a little embarrassed at that moment, but I still pretended to be serious. 2 underlings I picked up on the way, but Kang's expression clearly showed disbelief, with a look that said, "You're definitely not telling the truth." I was speechless, and decided not to explain further. I led them back to the big truck. After helping my father into the passenger seat, I sent Liu Xiao back to the cargo area. After returning home, my sister Aoyi stared at Liu Xiao in shock. What a beautiful woman. And this woman just called my brother. What, master? Oh, bro, what have you been up to out there? And he actually dared to bring this woman home. And that muscular guy, even if he said he was a special forces soldier, I'd believe him, okay? He actually called my brother boss. At that moment, Liu Xiao stood like a dutiful maid, with her hands folded over her abdomen, quietly standing behind me. Meng Kui clearly looked a bit lost. Although he was outgoing by nature, this was the family of the boss he served. He didn't know how to interact with them. In the end, it was my mother, Zhang Hong, who spoke up first. You must all be hungry. Come eat. After learning her son was coming back, she hadn't slept. She cooked all night, just so her son and husband could have a hot meal. But she hadn't expected her son to bring 2 more people back, so there wasn't quite enough food. But luckily, I had prepared plenty of canned goods. I opened some up and made a full table. Seeing Meng Kui and the other standing awkwardly to the side, I quickly called them over to eat together. Meng Kui was about to step forward, but Liu Xiao said, "Just give us some canned food. I can't eat at the same table as my master." As soon as she said that, everyone present was stunned. Yi looked back and forth between the two with suspicion. I get it. This is called flirting. Before she could finish, I flicked her on the forehead. It hurt so much tears welled up in her eyes. She grabbed my arm and started biting it. After dinner, I took the devil fruits out of my backpack. I still have 2 devil fruits here. One is the rumble fruit. The other one, I don't know what it is yet. You 2 eat them. Both Meng Kui and Liu Xiao were shocked. They didn't expect I still had 2 more. Deep longing showed in their eyes. Yi curiously picked up the 2 fruits and played with them, then handed them to our parents to see the amazing fruits. But after Kong looked at them, he gave them back to me. Give one to Zua to eat. We're old. Even if we eat them, it'd be a waste. Yeah, with you protecting us, we're already very satisfied. Such precious things. You keep them, they'll be more useful for you. I already have the Azure Dragon fruit. His strength will definitely grow quickly from now on. If you eat the fruit, you can also kill zombies fast, then exchange it for the Haki training method. That's what it really takes to survive the apocalypse. But after talking for a while, Mom and Dad still refused. If you get more later, you can give us some then. It's too wasteful for us to eat this now. I was completely helpless. I turned to look at Yi. Pick one. Yi had been staring eagerly for a long time. Seeing it was finally her turn, she got excited right away. She held up the 2 fruits, looking left and right. The rumble fruit is famous. Eating that one would be the safest choice. The other one, we don't even know its name. If it's just an ordinary Zoan, that would be a huge loss. But after thinking it over, she still handed the rumble fruit back to me. I'll eat this one. You're not eating the rumble. The elemental ability of a Logia is invincible in the early stages. Besides, who knows what that other one does? In the God's gift space, there's always a film potion. It can remove the devil fruit side effects. And let someone eat another fruit. Brother, you're so strong now. You'll definitely get the film potion. This rumble fruit suits you perfectly. I'll just eat this one. Alright, let me identify it first. If the ability is decent, then you can eat the identify fruit. Identification is a privilege unlocked. After reaching 1000 points, Yi has 0 points right now. So of course she doesn't know. I fought my way home from school, and then slaughtered a bunch at the central hospital entrance. The zombies I've killed are over 1000, so I can activate identification once. But when Yi heard it costs 1000 points to identify, she immediately objected. No. 1000 points is way too expensive. Without waiting for me to argue, she grabbed the fruit that looked like a weak golden corn, shoved it into her mouth, and swallowed it with a gulp. I was shocked. I never thought she'd just eat it like that. If this fruit is weak, there's no place to regret it. But Yi had already swallowed a piece of the fruit. What's done is done. I could only pray that this fruit's ability is strong enough. Everyone present stared intently at Yi, who had swallowed the fruit, watching closely for any change. Yi herself was also nervously feeling that strange energy inside her body. Soon, the energy covered her entire body. Her body began to change. Then her whole body quickly shrank into a palm-sized, white-furred, gold-striped little mouse. It's a Zoan. Everyone immediately understood the fruit's type. But this little mouse looked extraordinary. It's very likely not an ordinary species. Brother, you're also big. What type is it? Ordinary, ancient, or mythical Zoan? It's a mythical Zoan. Hearing the words mythical Zoan, I was overjoyed. Looks like my sister didn't gamble wrong. Mythical Zoans all have special abilities. What's your ability? Look, as she spoke, Yi dove downward, and actually burrowed directly into the gap between the floors. The ground had no bumps or damage at all. It was as if the little mouse had merged completely with the floor. Soon, the little mouse popped out from behind me and transformed into a human beast form. This lady formally introduces my devil fruit ability to everyone. My fruit is called the Zoan. Rat fruit. Mythical beast type, multi-treasure rat form. It has 3 abilities. First, it can pass through all earth and stone obstacles, like burrowing through the ground or walls. For me, it's like going through a layer of water or wood. Second, I have an independent treasure storage space, where I can store non-living items. As he spoke, Aoyi picked up a mop from the corner of the room and shoved it into his own chest. Everyone's eyes went wide, seeing something long and thick entering his chest. It vanished completely. It was a portable space. His mother, Zhonghong, even leaned her head into her daughter's arms and reached in to feel around. It was gone. Then, Aoyi reached into his chest again and pulled out the long, thick mop. How big is this space of yours? That's the key question I care about most. As far as I know, during the first Thorn period, there were no storage items. I don't know if there will be any later. But Aoyi's ability, if the space is big enough, can carry a lot of stuff without fear of losing it. Right now, it's only 10 cubic meters. But as the fruit develops, this space will slowly grow, and that's not all. I have another ability that surprised me even more. Burrowing. Wall phasing plus a portable space is already a miracle. And he has other abilities too. The third ability is treasure hunting. I can sense the aura of treasures and lock onto their location based on that aura. Right now, my sensing range can cover half. Holy crap! Hearing that, I almost curse it out loud. Burrowing, space, and treasure hunting. Suddenly, my Azure Dragon didn't seem so great. But thinking about it, the Azure Dragon has a lot of abilities too. First, it can control wind, fire, and lightning, 3 natural elements. Second, grabbing the clouds gives it flight. Finally, it has far greater strength than other animal types. Defense, speed, and recovery boosts. Comparing the two, the Azure Dragon is better at combat, while the Treasure Rat focuses on support abilities outside of battle. Aoyi's voice suddenly turned a bit dejected. But there are also downsides. Unlike other animal types, when I enter my beast form, my strength and defense are almost 0. I have no combat power at all, and when I enter my human beast form, I also get almost no boost to strength and defense. It's exactly the same as when I'm normal, but I'm very fast. I estimate the speed boost is at least twice that of other animal-type beast species. In the end, Aoyi was still quite proud. This really isn't a devil fruit built for combat, but its usefulness might even surpass the Azure Dragon. Treasure hunting. What counts as treasure in this era? You barely have to think. The only answer is devil fruits. Of course, that's not entirely true. In the future, secret realms will open. Aoyi's ability will also help us gain more benefits in those realms. Oh, right. Put this thunder fruit into the treasure storage space. Only there is it safe. After seeing Aoyi's fruit abilities, I handed him the thunder fruit. And I transferred my points to each of them, 30 each, so they could exchange for the 3-color Haki training methods. Even without a fruit, if you train Haki to its peak, you can still become a strong fighter. Even if you have a fruit, if your Haki is weak, you'll be weeded out by the apocalypse. Then, from the divine gift space, I exchanged a standard military knife for each of them. After that, I led everyone out of the house. Downstairs, there were still endless rats and wandering zombies. I turned into a dragon man and knocked down a zombie with one swing, making it lose its ability to move. Dad, use this knife to finish it off. Aokong hesitated a bit. Even though it's a zombie, it was once human. He couldn't bring himself to do it. Bro, let me do it. I'll show Dad how it's done. With that, he drew his long blade and sliced the zombie down in one stroke. A pungent smell spread out. Aokong frowned, but as a doctor, he wasn't scared. I repeated the same method again. Subdue a zombie. This time, Liu Xiao took the initiative to take it down. After the 2 girls demonstrated, Aokong was finally able to do it himself. Then their mother, Zhonghong, also took down a zombie. As for Menkui, he's someone who can take down a zombie on his own. As a boxing coach, his combat ability is much stronger than his family's. Now they already have the Haki training method. And training in armament Haki relies on extreme physical training and endless combat. Tempering the body through battle is the foundation of getting stronger. Dad, you guys train near the house first. I'll go clear out zombies farther away. Fighting zombies, besides training the body, is also about earning points. This is the currency of the apocalypse. Not only can you exchange items from the God's gift space, but you can also use them to trade with others. The old monetary system has collapsed. Bro, I'll go with you. Seeing that I was about to leave, Mao Yue quickly grabbed my arm and insisted on coming along. I frowned and said no. I'll clear out a batch of zombies near the house. You guys can come home and rest when you're tired. Going far away with me is too dangerous. Besides, your fruit's combat ability isn't that strong. I sense a treasure in the southwest. I can take you to find it. Treasure? That startled me. What other treasures are there now besides devil fruits? What else could it be? Fine, stay close to me. Don't run off on your own. Then I gave Mankui a quick instruction and headed southwest with Aoyi. Both of them are at the human level. Their forms are mostly conservative. His speed really surprised me. With his speed and incredible burrowing ability, those zombies couldn't even touch the hem of Aoyi's clothes. Although Aoyi's own attack power isn't great, he can still take down zombies by kiting them. When I smashed another zombie's head in with my club, Aoyi also managed to decapitate one. But using his abilities so frequently left him panting and exhausted. Yet he still happily showed off to me. Big bro. I took down another zombie. Seeing the girl's expression that clearly said praise me, I smiled and said, my little UA is really strong. Hearing my compliment, the girl's beautiful eyes curved into crescent moons. A pair of dimples appeared on her cheeks. But how can you be so cocky in the middle of a fight? A zombie lunged from behind, trying to attack Aoyi. He quickly tried to burrow away to escape, but the heavy drain on his stamina prevented him from burrowing. The zombie was getting closer. At the critical moment, I smacked the zombie away with my club. Bro, I can't fight anymore. Aoyi gasped for air heavily. He hadn't trained as hard as I did for a month, nor did he have a talent like Haki Genius. With the help of my points, he only got the qualification to train in Haki. He hasn't awakened Haki yet. The treasure hunting mouse doesn't boost stamina either. Being able to fight until now is already the result of his usual exercise routine. Point the direction. I'll take you there. Aoyi stuffed his longsword into his storage space, turned into his beast form, and jumped onto my shoulder. A palm-sized little mouse rubbed against my dragon scale-covered cheek. I directly dragonified. A deafening roar echoed through the entire sky, startling countless people hiding in residential buildings. They all poked their heads out and saw a green dragon soaring upward on clouds, charging into the cloud layer. The green dragon boss actually came to our Bian City. Can he clear out all the zombies in Bian City? Someone else filmed the scene of the green dragon soaring and uploaded it to the communication channel of the God's Gift space. They didn't dare fight the zombies, so they just hid in their houses. Through the God's Gift space, they communicated with people all over the world. Above the city, following the direction Aoyi pointed, I quickly arrived at the place he said had treasure. In that forest, Aoyi, in his treasure hunting mouse form, sniffed with his little nose. The closer he got to the treasure house, the stronger his feeling became. I descended from the air, and after landing on the ground, I transformed back into human form. The two of us quickly dashed into the woods. There weren't many people here, and zombies were also scarce. Only a few scattered zombies here and there, which I easily took care of. Suddenly, stop! Ally cried out sharply under a large pine tree. A sleazy-looking man was holding a red, heart-shaped fruit in his hands. At that moment, his heart was pounding with excitement. He had run out of the city, planning to hide in the deserted outskirts. Who would have thought that in these woods he would find this devil fruit? He wasn't a One Piece fan, so he didn't recognize what fruit it was. But from the forums in the God-given space, he knew that no matter what it was a priceless treasure. Ha ha ha, this heaven-sent fortune is finally coming to me, Wang Defa. As he spoke, he opened his mouth full of yellow teeth, ready to take a bite. Both Aoyi and I changed expression. No time. I shot a blast of dragon breath straight at him. Then Aoyi and I hurried over, seeing the devil fruit safe and sound in the ashes. I quickly picked it up. Having survived one apocalypse before, I had long since lost any sense of mercy. Aoyi, however, felt a bit guilty. This went against everything he had been taught. In the apocalypse, only the law of the jungle applies. Might makes right. If I didn't have the strength to obtain the devil fruit, and a stronger person found me, I would end up just like that man. Aoyi nodded gently. Even though it was only the second day of the apocalypse, from the forums in the God-given space, he had already seen the ugliness of human nature. Although his sister understood this logic, she still felt a bit upset inside. She tightly hugged my arm and looked at the fruit with me. The red, heart-shaped fruit had black swirling patterns on it. As hardcore One Piece fans, the two of us recognized this fruit. This was the most valuable fruit in the One Piece world. Like the Nika fruit, it was worth 5 billion berries. This was the Opop fruit. In my past life, the person who obtained the Opop fruit was a very famous powerhouse. But this sleazy man bore no resemblance to the powerhouse I remembered. I figured that, after this sleazy guy ate the fruit, he probably died not long after. Then the Opop fruit would respawn somewhere else in the world and be eaten by a true powerhouse. In the apocalypse, devil fruits work just like in the manga. As long as the user dies, the fruit will randomly respawn. That's why later on, some physical combat experts would hunt down weak devil fruit users, trying to get the respawn fruit for themselves. But the success rate was extremely low, because no one could predict where the fruit would respawn. Brother, can I give the op-hop fruit to him? He'll definitely love this fruit. Al Crossing immediately thought of the best home for the op-hop fruit. His father, Al Kong, was a surgeon. He would surely be interested in it and keep it safe. I transformed back into the Azure Dragon, letting Al sit on my back as I quickly returned home. My parents, exhausted, had already gone home to rest. Liu Xiao was attentively serving them, making them feel a bit uncomfortable. Meng Kui, meanwhile, was still fighting alone downstairs. He knew that just relying on me wasn't enough. If he wanted to be valued in the future, he had to have enough strength of his own. Downstairs, many people were now trying to kill zombies. After all, the items available for exchange in the God-given space were just too tempting. But even the cheapest Haki training method cost over a dozen points each, meaning you had to kill at least 10 zombies. They brought out kitchen knives, iron shovels, wooden sticks, any weapon they could find at home, trying to fight the zombies. But the zombies' strength, speed, and defense far surpassed theirs. All far surpassed theirs. From time to time, people were attacked by zombies, or after being caught, they got infected and turned into new zombies. Meng Kui saw me come back. He immediately reported to me what had happened after I left. Good work. If you're tired, go rest. I was very satisfied with Meng Kui's performance. This spirit of hard work and determination. It's the guarantee of survival in the apocalypse, isn't it? I still want to keep fighting. After I awarded the points, and he bought the 3-color Haki training method. Although he still hadn't awakened Haki, Meng Kui could clearly feel that every fight he had slightly improved his physique. He was a boxing coach. His body was already developed to its peak. He hadn't felt this kind of thrill of power increase in a long time. Therefore, he especially cherished this opportunity I had given him. Without me, he was confident he could kill stone zombies, but he estimated it would take at least 5 days. Alright, know your limits. Don't push yourself too hard. Then I went upstairs with Aoyi. As soon as I entered, I saw Liu Xiao massaging her mother Zhang Hong's legs. Although the two elders were in decent shape, after all, they were getting older. After such an intense battle, their bodies were extremely sore. Liu Xiao's technique wasn't professional, but having someone massage them still made it much more comfortable. Master, when she saw me come in, Liu Xiao immediately called out obediently, Master. This girl was indeed sensible. I felt my judgment was pretty good. Meng Kui and Liu Xiao, both of them had potential worth cultivating. After entering the room, Aoyi immediately let go of my arm. She jumped over to her father. Dad, we brought you something great. Saying that, she proudly pulled the Opop no Mi from her chest and placed it in front of Al Kong. It's a Paramecia-type Opop no Mi. Dad, you're a doctor. You'll definitely love its abilities. The moment she saw the Opop no Mi appear, Liu Xiao's heart trembled, but she immediately steadied herself and continued massaging Zhang Hong's legs diligently. In her heart, though, she felt more and more fortunate about her choice. Al Kong, on the other hand, wasn't that excited. After all, he hadn't watched One Piece. He took the Opop no Mi from his daughter's hand and looked at it curiously. After eating the Opop no Mi, can I perform surgery? From the fruit's name, he naturally made that assumption. But I already know how to do surgery. Could it make me more precise? Aoyi immediately explained to him. The Opop no Mi can create a space. Look. Inside it, you can cut anything, and you can teleport within it. Aoyi's explanation was a bit messy. Seeing that her father still didn't quite understand, she found a video of the Opop no Mi and showed Law's abilities to her father one by one. Al Kong grew more amazed. Devil fruits are truly incredible. But Dad is old now. You and your brother should keep this fruit. If you and your mom get stronger, I can focus on my own work with peace of mind. Otherwise, I'll always be worried about the family. I deliberately said that. Al Kong heard it and was indeed convinced. As parents, they didn't want to become a burden to their children. As Dad took a big bite, the terrible taste spread through his mouth. Bao Yue saw him frown and quickly explained, all devil fruits taste awful. Don't spit it out. Don't chew. Just swallow it. Only one bite is enough. Quick, feel the power of the devil fruit inside you. See if you can use it. Al Kong did as he was told, following the guidance of the power inside him. He gently raised his hand and pressed. A transparent dome appeared around him. He glanced at the mop not far away. With a thought, he swapped places with the mop. Seeing this, Aoyi and I were both very happy. Now try the ability to cut anything. Al Kong pulled out the military knife he used to kill zombies. He swung it down on the table. The table was cut through like paper. Cut in half. Dad, try cutting me. Go ahead. Ai excitedly jumped in front of her father, asking him to cut her in two. Kong was speechless. Although he had already heard about the Operation Fruit's power from his daughter, hearing the request to be cut still felt it was weird, not right. Dad's moves aren't smooth yet. What if I hurt you? Ai wouldn't listen. But no matter how much she asked, Kong refused to look at him. I think we should try somewhere else. Find more devil fruits. Then we can dominate, become. Tao Yu's suggestion got me excited. Little sister is right. He has this ability. If it's only used for development, it's a real waste. Many devil fruits haven't been discovered yet. Or after a user dies, their fruit respawns before someone else grabs it. If I seize this chance, using Ai's fruit talent to collect more devil fruits, not only can I boost my family's strength, it's also an extremely valuable resource. In the future, when people get used to this broken world and find their footing in the apocalypse, various major factions will emerge. Though I'm strong, I don't have the power to dominate the whole world yet. These fruits can be used for trading, to get what I need most, or to win over the strong and make them my subordinates. But I'm still worried about my family's safety. Dad noticed my concern. Careful. Don't worry. Now Dad has a devil fruit ability too. And with Miss Liu and Brother Meng's help, we'll be fine. Dad will protect your mom. Your dad's right. You go ahead and do what you need to do. With what you've given us, we can already survive in the city. Master, rest assured, we'll take good care of Mom and Dad. I was pretty touched, thinking these two are good people. Then I'll leave my parents in your hands. I'll transfer you each 400 points, so you can boost your strength faster. Since my sister proposed it and it was approved, then we need to act quickly. After that, I used the divine word space, spending over 10 points, to set up a chat group, and pulled in my parents, sister, Meng Kui, and Liu Xiao. This way, even if I'm away, I can always talk to my family and check on them. After all that was done, I left home with Ai, got on the big truck parked at the door, and headed out of town. I'll leave the direction to you. You're a treasure hunting mouse. Even if you can't sense treasures, your instincts should still be useful. Head west to the provincial capital. There are more people there. Big city, so the chance of devil fruits appearing will be higher. Following the treasure mouse's instincts, I drove west out of the city. Along the way, we'd hop out and fight big battles. When our stamina ran out, we'd go back to the truck, resting while we traveled. But the big truck was still pretty inconvenient. Aoxing thought they still needed an off-road vehicle. After entering the provincial capital, we kept going straight west. There were indeed 100 times more zombies here than in the city. And the army was here, organized and clearing them out. Guns and cannons firing, driving back huge hordes of zombies. But unless their core parts were blown away, they could still move. And my big truck was stopped by the military. Military operation ahead. This area is closed. That direction has a shelter set up overnight, surrounded by our army garrison. Absolutely safe, with regular food and water supplies. Thank you. The country is indeed trying its best to stop this disaster. But unfortunately, this disaster can't be fought with human civilization alone. I didn't follow the station's directions to the shelter. Instead, I turned the car around and chose to bypass this area. You can't save someone who's determined to die. Now we don't have the energy to deal with so many things. We drove back to the fork in the road we came from earlier. After heading north for about 7 or 8 kilometers, we turned west again. This area isn't surrounded by the military. The zombies are still running rampant. Occasionally, I could see people relying on buildings to fight the zombies. After killing the zombies using various methods, they immediately retreated back into the houses. After resting, they'd come out again to find another chance to kill zombies. Everyone was trying every way possible to survive in the apocalypse. Although I didn't find any fruit, I found something better. This car is called an off-road vehicle, but it's basically a civilian armored vehicle. Aside from lacking a positioning system and weapons system, it's tough as hell. It's my ideal vehicle model. At that moment, a young man was relying on a Mengshi and had cut a hole in the car door. Then he crawled into the car and stuck a long spear out to stab the attacking zombies. Although it was hard to hit them directly in the head, grinding it out slowly still let him kill a few zombies. I parked the big truck next to this Dongfeng Mengshi. Together with Ai, I got out and activated my dragon form. A thickened, weighted baseball bat was unstoppable. This bat works great. Even though I already have enough points to trade for a sharp blade, I still use this bat. The young man hiding in the car, seeing a big truck suddenly stop beside him, felt his heart skip a beat. Damn, it's the Azure Dragon boss. Is the Azure Dragon boss going to rob me too? Haha. Just as he was letting his imagination run wild, I had already cleared out all the zombies here, and I knocked on the car window. Armored. The young man in the car carefully opened the door. He knew that if this Azure Dragon boss wanted to, he could easily destroy his car, so it was better to just cooperate obediently. A truck with half a trailer of diesel. I want your car, but this isn't a robbery. Trading a truck and diesel for my Menchi is a loss, but it's way better than I expected. Anyway, after swapping cars, the truck won't be drivable. Might as well just use it for the trade. As for the diesel, I can't take it all either. This isn't a fool, he quickly understood my intention. Are you trying to get something for nothing? Boss, I don't ask for anything, just take me with you. The car is yours. After nearly 2 days of surviving the apocalypse, he had deeply realized how terrifying it was. Now that a big shot was here, why not latch on? I was speechless. This guy has thick skin. I have things to do. I can't take you. How about this? 30-some points are enough for you to exchange for the 3-color Haki training method. Boss, take me with you. I've studied wilderness survival. I can do a lot of things. He was a hardcore apocalypse enthusiast. He had even custom ordered this reinforced civilian armored car and prepared a full set of outdoor survival gear. Look, I customized this car. And those gear, I prepared them. I really can do a lot of things. I have things to do. Taking you is impossible. But I can help you clear out the zombies in the villa. With 30 points to exchange for the Haki training method, you can slowly get stronger on your own. He was a bit discouraged. But being able to exchange for the Haki training method was still good. And I took the young man and walked into his villa. We killed all his zombified family members and beloved dog. Train your Haki well. You can become a strong person in the apocalypse too. Boss, my name is Lintia. Can you tell me your name? If I want to find you, where should I go? He was so persistent. But telling him wouldn't hurt. If this guy really has talent, I could take him under my wing later. My name is Ao Crossing. My home is in Beyondchang. If you can walk to Beyondchang, I'll consider taking you in. Just walk to Beyondchang? I can definitely do it. Actually, killing zombies is useless. Even if you cut off a zombie's head, these dead zombies will be eaten by other zombies and trigger evolution. To completely eliminate zombies, you need to burn them, incinerate their bodies completely. However, when zombie bodies are burned, the moisture accumulated inside them spreads into the air, increasing the concentration of the zombie virus in the air. This further infects people with weak constitutions. Moreover, the zombie virus is catalyzed by high temperatures, becoming even stronger. It's a dilemma. The only solution is to train in Haki. Haki is a process of body refinement. Train your body to its peak, and you won't fear the zombie virus or zombies. Any other method is just a temporary fix. I wish your storage space were bigger. Then we could bring all the diesel fuel. With limited fuel now, the range we can search is limited too. You think I don't want that? Developing a devil fruit ability isn't that easy. Eat less of this junk food. When you're tired, go to the temple shop and trade for a piece of water meat. It'll replenish your energy well, HMPH. I sense a treasure to the southwest. Suddenly, I perked up. Hearing about treasure, I got excited immediately. I stopped getting out of the car to kill zombies, and instead tried to avoid them. I sped full throttle toward the direction I pointed. When we finally got near the destination, we found things weren't so simple. It was a factory, and the outside was fitted with barbed wire. Many small machines and discarded tables and chairs were piled at the entrance, serving as barriers against zombie intrusion. People inside had used tools from the factory to modify some long-handled blades, used to kill zombies trying to break through the obstacles. There were quite a few people walking around inside the factory, checking for any gaps to prevent zombies from climbing in. If they spotted a zombie climbing the barbed wire, someone would immediately grab a long pole, welded with a sharp blade, like a spear, and poke the zombie down. This place had clearly become a basic safe zone. To have achieved this proves the organizer here is no ordinary person. You wait in the car. There are quite a few zombies outside, not suitable for your training. Big brother, be careful. This kid's asking for death. Let's watch him get torn apart. Oh my god, am I seeing things? This kid is so strong. The surrounding zombies were all drawn to me. But I still didn't activate my transformation, because I've already reached the bronze skin stage. My already decent body, plus a month of hard training, gave me a solid foundation. A Haki prodigy awakens Haki directly, with both passive enhancement and double the active training speed. My Haki progressed rapidly. By the second day of the apocalypse, I had reached the bronze skin level. So-called bronze skin doesn't mean your skin is literally bronze or iron. Body refinement goes from the outside in. Skin is the body's first layer of defense. Train your skin to be tough, and it can greatly reduce the impact on your body, as well as the recoil force when attacking. This is the body's first transformation during training. Strength, defense, speed, recovery ability, all. Even if I don't transform with the Azure Dragon fruit, it still provides some physical boost in human form. That's how I can easily kill zombies, even without using my ability. And the difficulty of killing zombies without using my ability. The damage taken actually boosts Haki faster. I know that car. It's a Dongfeng Mengshi, a civilian armored vehicle. He could have driven this car away from this zombie horde, but he deliberately stopped at our gate. He must have some plan for our base. What does he want? To take over our base. Should we tell the boss? Call old Zhang. Boss, there's an expert outside. He killed hundreds of zombies by himself, and he's parked a Dongfeng warrior at the gate. The brothers think he might have designs on our base. He really is an expert. He kills zombies way too easily. It puts a lot of pressure on me. If this guy has bad intentions toward our base, can we fight him? A full hour later, the zombies in front of the factory's north gate were finally cleared out by me. Shaking my sore arm, I strode up to the factory gate. I need to go in and get something. What do you want to get? I can't exactly say I'm here for the devil fruit. Looks like the devil fruit here is hidden in some inconspicuous place. Otherwise, these people would have eaten it by now. Some vegetables. As soon as he said that, I was even more certain. He was after my base, and he wants to trick me into opening the door so he can take over. There's something in the art of war. What is it? Feigning an attack to conquer a country. Even though I'm just an ordinary worker, I do read up on military strategy in my spare time. This guy can't fool me. We don't even have enough for ourselves. Go find somewhere else. Yeah, that's right. Don't think you can trick us into going somewhere else. What if I insist on going in? I may not be a good person, but I don't usually kill people for no reason. I hope these people can just... Damn it, there's so many of us, you think we're scared of you. If you've got the guts, come on in. Let's see who's afraid of who. He thinks he can scare us. I'll be right here waiting for you to come in. Let me see how you handle this. Just then, an invisible pressure spread out. The workers felt as if they were facing the might of a king. Fear stood in their hearts. Some even fell to their knees with a thud. The most cowardly few were scared unconscious on the spot. Only old Zhang and a few others who had started cultivating could still look me in the eye. That's definitely Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror's Haki. Boss, let him in. Even if he becomes the boss, it's no shame. Yeah. The strong rule. No shame, no shame. After I unleashed Conqueror's Haki, I no longer planned to keep talking with them. It was a complete waste of time. The baseball bat in my hand was wrapped in a layer of black light. With a hard swing, the obstacles the workers had painstakingly set up were broken through. Old Zhang gripped his weapon tightly, but in the end, he didn't dare to strike. You'd better behave. Think about whether your head is harder than a zombie's. Ziyuan, come here. Aoyi, who had been watching the show, heard my call, immediately pulled out the keys and jumped out of the car, and came running over to me with a bounce. She twitched her delicate little nose as she led me toward the back of the warehouse. Who are you? Get lost, you little brat. What did you say? How dare you talk to me like that? I'll hang you at the gate and feed you to the zombies later. Oh, you brought a pretty little girl with you? Which club did you pick her up from? She have some fun with the guys in the factory later. Ah, masters, you killed someone. I'll fight you to the death. Brothers, let's all jump him. Our women have been insulted. We can't let this villain go. If they curse me, I might not do anything, but if they curse my family, I will make them pay in blood. Zuyuan, many times. The evil in people's hearts is more terrifying than zombies and monsters. Now you dare to kill zombies, but do you dare to kill a person? Order has collapsed. If someone bullies you like this, you have to teach them a bloody lesson. To survive in the apocalypse, you must put aside unnecessary mercy. I won't start trouble, but I won't back down from it. If someone starts with me, I'll hunt them down no matter how far. He's a devil fruit user. I'm sorry, please don't kill me. Please, let us go. We didn't do anything. Little Moon, these are the rules of the apocalypse. Cut the weeds and dig up the roots. Since the seeds of hatred have been sown, then we must eliminate the threat for good. Bro, the people who cursed you are already dead. They're innocent. Just let them go. Little Jade, this is the apocalypse. Even a small conflict can spark a fight. And every fight ends with someone dead or injured. In my past life, I used to think that killing those who had a grudge against me was enough. I thought I was cold-blooded enough, but I still died because of a moment of softness. In this life, I'd rather be called a demon than ever show the slightest mercy again. We arrived at the place Yi sensed. This was the factory cafeteria's food storage warehouse. I smashed it open with one violent swing of my staff. I found the devil fruit, crushed under a fruit basket below. The fruit was still a type one didn't recognize, but just as I reached the factory gate, I saw that someone had already driven off with my car. Even though Yi had pulled out the keys, there are always skilled lockpickers out there who can manage. I transformed into a blue dragon and carried Yi into the sky. Soon, I spotted our car. The blue dragon dove down, and with one crash, flipped the car over. Boss, please don't kill me. I'm begging you. Back in the car, the mischievous Yi was silent the whole way. He was truly frightened by my decisive and ruthless methods today. It was as if that wasn't his own brother. Bro, you were so scary earlier. Little Moon, remember, it's the apocalypse now. Apart from our family, you can't trust anyone easily. Bro, did you get reborn? Bro, did you get reborn? Damn, did I slip up? Why did she suddenly say that? You've been hoarding food like crazy, and you made Mom take leave to bring me home. You're so certain you must know something. And ever since you came back, you felt so strange to me, like a completely different person. I think there are only two reasons for this. Either you were reborn, or you've been possessed. As she said the last part, Yi's voice grew quieter and quieter. She didn't dare look at me, afraid that even her own brother wasn't himself. Hey! You jerk of a brother! Bro, I knew you wouldn't abandon me. Bro, how did you die in your past life? Was I awesome in your past life? And Mom and Dad, were they okay? You all died. But in this life, no matter who dares to hurt you, I'll wipe out their entire clan. After leaving the factory, we continued heading west. Whenever we encountered a zombie horde on the road, we'd get out of the car and fight them. To train my Haki, I stopped using the blue dragon's abilities. Yi hadn't awakened her Haki yet, so she was very weak. With the speed boost from her treasure mouse, she could still handle zombies with ease. The two of us traveled west like this for 3 days. In those 3 days, we didn't find any more devil fruits. This dampened Yi's initial enthusiasm. She even started to wonder if her ability was malfunctioning. But I told her this was normal. In my past life, I lived until the second divine era. According to statistics from a powerful organization, there were over 10,000 different ability users, though that's way more than the less than 100 devil fruits in the manga. Way more. When averaged out over the world's nearly 10 billion people, finding one in just these few days, getting 5 devil fruits in a row, is already pretty rare, bro. Let's head in that direction to go further. He pointed at a small path off the fork. I looked at the map in surprise. That path leads deep into the mountains. In my past life, plenty of people did run into the mountains. They might have dodged the crowds on one side, but they also lost their chance to grow. In the end, they sadly died in the mountains. I feel like there's something good there. Allie wasn't too sure herself. After all, intuition is way too mystical. But I trust her a lot. I immediately drove toward the mountains. No zombies blocking the road. The car sped along at full throttle. Allie propped her legs up on the dash. She swung her feet and snacked. She also scrolled through videos and posts in the God-given space. Ha ha ha, that's too funny. Bro, I just saw a post. Someone didn't get a devil fruit and is complaining about it. Humph. Hey, what's that look on your face? Do you know who's doing the complaining? I don't think it matters who it is. There's no way it's that funny. It's Weishin, heh. Hey, that old bastard Oda must be fuming, right? Ha ha ha. You don't know. This post is going viral in the God-given space right now. Some people even want Oda to teach them Haki techniques. But Oda said, I'm just a destroyer. What the hell do I know about Haki? Ha ha. Thinking back to my past life, it seems Weishin didn't really make a name for himself. Even though the God-given world is based on his work, it's already got nothing to do with the original author. Seeing the sky getting dark, I planned to park the car by the road and rest for the night. Just as I turned a corner around a mountain, I suddenly saw some lights up ahead. Light means people. But in this world, you can't trust others easily. I might be ruthless, but I wouldn't go after innocent people. In this world, people's hearts are hard to read. Rushing into contact is too dangerous. Better to rest cautiously out here. I parked the car by the road. Using the light from over there, I decided to spend the night here. Allie pulled out a camping set from the back. She spread out a big tent on the spot. The world might be dangerous, but with my careful care, Allie wasn't scared at all. Instead, she found it thrilling. Bro, what's wrong? It's a roar. What's a roar? A roar is a zombie's yell. But have you ever heard a zombie yell? Zombie bodies decay, and their vocal cords rot too, so they can't make sounds. But as zombies evolve, their bodies gradually repair, and they slowly regain basic physical functions, like speaking. But to make a sound, they'd have to be at least a one-star zombie. One-star zombies that just lost their senses are just unranked zombies. Aside from being a bit stronger and having harder bones, they're not hard to deal with. Even ordinary people have a chance to kill them when they devour flesh and blood and repair their bodies. By then, they're faster. They can also use human-like fighting moves. At that point, they're one-star zombies, also called flesh eaters. To take on a flesh eater, you'd need at least the bronze skin stage. It's not safe here anymore. You get back in the car, I'll go ahead and check. If it's just a flesh eater, fine. But if it's a 2-star zombie, we're in danger. I'm only at the bronze skin stage myself. To take on a zombie, I'd need to reach the iron bone stage. But it's only been 5 or 6 days since the apocalypse started. Zombies shouldn't evolve this fast. Send overnight to the armored vehicle. After turning into a fire dragon, he grabbed his iron staff and headed toward the roar. Going somewhere else. When I walked in, I realized that this glowing place was a rundown Taoist temple. The Thunder Ancestor Temple, hidden in the mountains, was this dilapidated. It definitely wasn't a temple commercialized by the secular world. Only here would there be real Taoist priests. Ah! Help, help, help! Monster! Ha! I was speechless. Such a big bald head, and such weak nerves. I lifted my foot to step into the temple. It wasn't a flesh eater. The main hall's crumbling wall collapsed with a crash. A dark-skinned, robe-wearing old man was frenziedly pouncing on someone, biting and tearing. Several victims' bodies lay scattered on the ground. The scene was brutal. The old Taoist heard the noise and turned to look. The moment our eyes met, I knew something was wrong. It's not meat. It was a zombie Taoist, even while feeding. His limbs stayed stiff and straight. His withered hands were covered in sharp claws. He had 4 fangs in his mouth. Those were clearly the traits of a zombie. A zombie is what happens when a flesh eater evolves further, using massive amounts of zombie virus to strengthen its body, causing the virus to accumulate inside. It's a state before digestion. The accumulated virus makes the zombie's body stiff, but also gives it a body of bronze skin and iron bones. Extremely hard to kill. Luckily, its weak spot is still the head. As long as you cut off or smash its head, you can still kill it. In such a remote place, where would it get enough virus to purify? That zombie Taoist threw away the half-eaten corpse in his hands and leapt at me, even though a zombie's body is stiff. With that leap, he was already right in front of me. I quickly raised my baseball bat to block. The zombie bit down, and on the bat, there were 4 deep bite marks. I blew a burst of hot air at the zombie's face, but it only burned off his hair and clothes. His skin was a bit charred, but nothing serious. The zombie Taoist roared in fury, swung his claws, and lunged again. Thunderclap Bagua, even though it wasn't a real technique. The bat crackling with electricity really did sound like thunder. With a loud crash, came the sound of a slight bone crack. This zombie's skull was as hard as steel. That custom-made, reinforced, weighted bat actually snapped in half, and all it achieved was a single crack in its skull. The zombie Taoist roared again in anger, his stinking fangs lunging at my neck. Brother, burrow underground. Wait until I kill him, then come out. I thought it was just a flesh eater, but it turned out to be a 2-star zombie. This kind of zombie has monstrous strength, bronze skin, and iron bones. Human armored vehicles can't even stop it. Director knew he couldn't help, so he quickly turned into a treasure rat and burrowed underground. By now, I was out of breath, using heat breath twice in a row, plus the heavy output of lightning, drained my stamina fast, and that last swing had shaken my insides, making my blood churn. The zombie Taoist leapt again, closing the distance quickly. His 10 pitch-black fingers, like claws, stabbed straight at me. I let out a roar, grabbed his wrists with my dragon claws, and we began to wrestle. Even though the zombie had reached to stars, theoretically requiring a human. Theoretically, it requires a human. Only an iron-hard body could withstand it. But relying on my Azure Dragon enhanced physique, I managed to hold my own against the zombie for a time. We were at a stalemate. The zombie lunged its head forward again. I hardened my heart, lowered my head, and used the dragon horns on my crown to ram its forehead. The dragon horns were quite sharp, and they stabbed deep into its eye socket. The zombie roared in pain, its head severely injured. If any ordinary creature suffered such a blow, it would have been dead already. But zombies feel no pain. It jerked its head back, pulling its skull free from the horns. Then it let out an enraged roar, and its arms actually bent slightly. My eyes twitched. The reason zombies are stiff-limbed is because the zombie virus accumulates in their flesh. Once it fully absorbs and integrates that virus, its limbs will regain their flexibility. Now that this zombie's arms were slightly bending, it meant it was accelerating the absorption and fusion of the virus. I couldn't keep this stalemate going. I let out a roar, threw off the zombie's arms, transformed into the Azure Dragon, and soared into the sky. My dragon tail instantly lashed out, striking the zombie and making it stagger. A thunderbolt strike charred its body even more. Even though the zombie had a body of bronze and bones of iron, it was still carved with countless wounds. The wind and clouds parted, and the Azure Dragon dove down. My dragon claws grabbed the zombie's arms and lifted it up. The zombie, unsteady from the fierce wind, couldn't muster any strength. The Azure Dragon carried it straight into the sky. I roared, put force into my dragon claws, and tried to tear the zombie in half. But the zombie was also pushing inward with its strength. I couldn't tear it apart. My cultivation level was still too low. Even though I could suppress the zombie in my Azure Dragon form, killing it wasn't easy. And in just that short time, I already felt like I was about to undergo a tribulation. If I just used the dragon form to fly, I could hold out a bit longer. But fighting like this wouldn't last much longer. I soared back up into the clouds and hurled the zombie in my claws straight downward. With a thunderous crash, the zombie's body slammed into the main hall of the temple, right onto the towering statue enshrined there. But how could a clay statue withstand a zombie? Its hard body smashed the statue into countless pieces. The zombie crashed heavily to the ground, its body battered and covered in wounds. But it still didn't fall. I landed as well, and reverted to human form, gasping for breath. This was my first time using the Azure Dragon form. Fighting at full power was indeed strong. But for me right now, it was still too much of a stretch. Kaido's strength came from the fact that he was already someone who could destroy a country alone. The Azure Dragon fruit was just icing on the cake, but I relied entirely on the Azure Dragon fruit, so the power I could unleash was naturally worlds apart. I ate some meat. And my stamina recovered a bit. The zombie Taoist had also gotten back on its feet. I transformed into my human form again, coated my dragon claws in armament Haki, and fought the zombie. With the dual protection of armament Haki and dragon scales, I could effectively prevent the zombie virus from invading. But if I kept fighting like this, I'd still be worn down. I needed a weapon. After another clash, I quickly retreated. But at that moment, entering the divine space to exchange for a weapon was already too late. And now I didn't have enough points. Just as I was thinking of a plan, I caught a glimpse out of the corner of my eye. Beside the broken clay pieces of the statue, an iron rod had fallen to the ground. I suddenly remembered this was Lizu Temple. That segmented iron staff was exactly what was enshrined in the temple. The steel rod in the Thunder Ancestor statue's hand. This thing is at least better than a baseball bat or something. I lunged over and picked up the jointed steel rod from the ground. Since the statue was tall, this steel rod was also thicker and longer. Ordinary rod-type weapons usually aren't longer than 80 centimeters, but this one was a full 1.20 meters. The rod was also thicker and felt heavier in the hand. With my current strength, it was just right to use. Just as I picked up this jointed steel rod, the zombie Taoist had already become tattered again. His body was already broken, but his attacks were still swift. I used up all my remaining stamina, unleashing the most violent electric current, lightning and armament Haki, all wrapped around this jointed steel rod. I slammed it down hard onto the zombie Taoist's forehead. The huge recoil force shattered my palm skin and flesh. The zombie Taoist's head was also smashed to pieces under that blow. After landing that all-out strike, I reverted from my beast human form, could no longer hold the heavy jointed steel rod, and dropped it to the ground, feeling nothing but soreness and weakness all over. Underground, I heard the fighting stop, carefully emerged from a distance. When she saw me sitting on the ground gasping for breath, she quickly ran over and brought me water, meat, and fresh water. After resting a bit, we entered the broken-down temple, checked the entrance. The bald man we first saw had already died in the battle's aftermath. Inside the temple, everywhere were broken statues and overturned tools. Several victims' bodies lay on the ground. The back hall was where the old Taoist used to live. When the main hall collapsed, only this place was still intact. It should be safe here. Let's rest here for today. I drove the armored vehicle to the entrance, blocking the gate to keep others or zombies out. I moved a stool and sat outside the yard, looked up at the night sky, suddenly felt a stir in my heart. My mind entered the God-given space. Because you were the first to kill an interstellar zombie, you will receive a reward. And because you killed a star-rated zombie within the first 10 days, the reward tier is upgraded. And because you directly killed a 2-star zombie, the reward tier is upgraded again. Please choose one from the following 3 titles. A title. I perked up, just like the talent I chose the first time. A title is also an extremely rare and uncommon thing. At least in my past life, I struggled for so long and never obtained any title. Title 1, Zombie Slayer, permanently doubles damage dealt to zombies. Title 2, Bounty Hunter, permanently doubles points earned from killing zombies. Title 3, God Tier Member, become a distinguished member of the God Tier space. You will have one chance to exchange at 10% of the price, and when you exchange items in the God Tier space, you'll enjoy a 20% discount. My God, all 3 titles are still so tempting. Comparing killing faster versus earning more. Killing faster is still a bit better, because if you kill faster, you naturally earn more. And there's also the chance to challenge stronger zombies. But neither of these beats Title 3, God Tier Member. 190% off chance, permanent 20% discount privilege, 2 exclusive exchange options, invisible black bloodline factor, and the membrane potion that removes devil fruit side effects. Both cost 100 million points. At 90% off, you can exchange one for 10 million points. And everything you exchange is 20% off. I could easily use this privilege as a middleman to rack up points. No need to hesitate at all. I'll directly choose Title 3, God Tier Member. Then I check my personal panel. Name, Air Crossing, Talent, Haki Genius. Title, God Tier Member, Devil Fruit, Feather Jade Fruit. Azure Dragon Form, Realm, Bronze Skin. Equipment, Thunder Ancestor's Rod. Points, 9,655. I suddenly noticed something in the equipment slot. The Thunder Ancestor's Whip. I looked at the steel whip with bamboo-like joints beside me. That was the item held in the hand of the Thunder Ancestor enshrined in the Thunder Ancestor Temple. But after all, it was just an ordinary thing. How could it be counted as equipment? And it had the word tail in its name. My previous baseball bat, which helped me kill so many zombies, wasn't considered equipment either. I placed the jointed whip on my lap. I carefully examined why this thing was so special. I saw that this steel whip was covered in rust. It had weathered countless years of history. It might have once been worshipped by thousands. It had 18 sections in total. On each section, there were also Taoist runes carved that I couldn't understand. I looked at it for a long time. I still couldn't see anything special about it. But when I used it earlier to hit that zombie Taoist priest, it really was quite handy. My points were also close to 10,000. Should I identify that fruit of ZUs? I stroked my chin and thought. The identification fee for a devil fruit was 1,000 per use. For me, that didn't seem like much. But there was no rush. I didn't need that fruit right now anyway. I could wait until I got back to deal with it. After I finished selecting, I entered the God-given space again. This time, I went to the communication channel I had set up myself. In the family group, I first reported to my parents that I was safe. Then I asked about the situation at home. Something big had actually happened at home today. It was the father and son from the Chen family upstairs. They knew our family had food stored up. Later, they came to borrow some. At the time, only Mom and Liu Xiao were home. Dad and Menkui were downstairs fighting zombies. Originally, my mom was kind-hearted and wanted to give them some. But those two guys, when they saw our house full of supplies, their eyes turned red with greed. Plus, driven by Liu Xiao's beauty, those two actually tried to kill my mom, to take the supplies and the girl. Luckily, Liu Xiao was on guard. And although she hadn't awakened her Haki yet from training, her physique had been greatly enhanced. So when those two made their move, she killed them instead. My mom was terrified at the time. She had killed a few zombies before, but seeing someone killed was a first. Oh, right? I remember old Chen had a wife and a daughter. What about them, boss? They've already been killed by me. When he learned that Zhang Han was attacked, he was shocked. He had promised the boss that he wouldn't let the boss's parents get hurt. So, furious, he immediately kicked open the Chen family's door upstairs. Menkui's decisiveness and ruthlessness surprised me. He was different from me. He hadn't been through the same indifference, yet he could still be so decisive. Good job. I didn't thank him. I just praised him. I understood how a leader should act in the apocalypse. I've checked. In this building, besides our family, there are no living people left. Tomorrow, I plan to get some building materials and block up the stairwell. Build some defenses. Okay, be careful. I agreed with Menkui's idea. At that point, I finally asked about their family situations. Menkui's mother was in poor health. After the zombie virus broke out, she was taken to the hospital while unconscious. Then, during the outbreak, she turned. She bit Menkui's father to death. Menkui barely escaped. He got in his car and tried to flee the city. So, as he said, he came to be in city with no attachments. Liu Xiao was different from him. She was from a rural household. She put herself through college on scholarships. She was very smart. She knew how to use her advantages. She extracted money from men. But she always kept them from getting her. Little ah, haha, your brother is getting married. The girl's family demands that he must have a house. Since you just bought this house, transfer it to your brother. Yeah. As the older sister, you have to help your brother out. I won't do it, you ungrateful girl. Getting too big for your britches, huh? I fed you, clothed you, and put you through college. Is this how you repay me? You shameless thing. How could you possibly buy a house at such a young age? This house must have been. You got this house through dishonest means. Let's go. But when he was dragged off to transfer the property, the apocalypse broke out. He escaped in the chaos. He doesn't know what happened to his parents and younger brother. Of course, he no longer cares whether they live or die. I've already cut ties with them. Whether they live or die has nothing to do with me anymore. From now on, I belong only to my master. I'll do anything for you. I was deeply moved. The apocalypse is merciless. If they hadn't met me, they'd most likely be dead on the road. In the apocalypse, staying holed up at home gives you a much higher survival rate than running out of the city. Do your work well. I won't treat you badly. Then I told them all about my journey and recounted everything I'd seen. I also warned them to watch out for evolved zombies. After the call ended, I chatted with Li for a while. I checked the divine words and the space communication channel for any new news. Then I drifted off to sleep. Outside the Taoist temple, a small figure quietly appeared. Master. The next morning, Ea Crossing opened his eyes. After waking the sleeping Ea Cheng, they had a quick breakfast and got in the car to leave this run-down temple. The changes around them. The special baseball bat at his side had turned into a thick, long-segmented steel whip. In the passenger seat, Ea Cheng rubbed his sleepy eyes and dozed off. Although the apocalypse had been going on for over 6 days, he was used to sleeping in and hadn't fully adapted to the rhythm of the end times. Right now, in the provincial capital of Yuzhou, the military had gathered most of the zombies together. Countless high-powered lethal weapons fired all at once. The deafening roar was even more intense than before. Countless zombies had their bodies blown apart, but as long as their heads remained, they grabbed body parts from other zombies nearby and shoved them into their mouths to chew, devouring and setting fires. The military had also realized that just killing zombies wasn't enough. Blowing their heads off only let other zombies devour them. So after research, they decided to bring flamethrowers into play. After several rounds of artillery fire, soldiers in protective suits holding flamethrowers began to advance. The air temperature grew higher and higher. In the microscopic world invisible to the naked eye, the zombie virus was undergoing drastic changes. It split and recombined, becoming even stronger. Finally, the rotting flesh stopped peeling. Covered in corpse spots, agile zombies burst out from the bodies. Flames scorched their flesh, but couldn't burn them to ash immediately. With a crunch, they bit through the protective suit. More and more zombies evolved into rotten flesh. Their defenses were stronger, their strength greater, and their speed faster. Even bullets couldn't take them down right away. Those sniper rifles that could blow a person to pieces only left a big hole in a rotten flesh. It didn't affect them much, but the military, relying on powerful thermal weapons, could still barely hold their own, until the rising temperatures catalyzed the emergence of a head zombie. This head zombie rampaged through the army, as if no one could stop it. To kill the zombies as quickly as possible, the soldiers didn't fight it hand to hand, but by killing with firearms, so they earned no points, no Haki to exchange, and no strength to cultivate. More and more people got infected, and this was happening in major cities and countries everywhere. The zombie crisis couldn't be suppressed by the military. It became the last straw that broke the camel's back. The order that could barely be maintained suddenly collapsed. This news spread like wildfire through the God-given space. Only at this moment did everyone finally believe that civilization no longer existed. The apocalypse could not stop the mountain path.